you have the main event, the nightcap, the Clippers, the people's team, taking on the latest super team that's going to fail, the Phoenix Suns, in the NBA matchup. Now, I don't know if you saw this game. You watched it. If you were doing some other stuff, maybe you were not watching any sports, or you're watching baseball or God knows what, you might have missed it. So in this game, Devin Booker put up 38 points. Phoenix struggled early in this game and was very fortunate to get past a shorthanded Clipper team, 123-109. Clips again did not have the services of all NBA talent Paul George, and yet the Suns really had to fight for this one. Kawhi Leonard, 31 points. Russell Westbrook, playoff Russ. Give me more of that. Playoff Russ, he fixed his problems shooting the ball, 28 points, as the series is now tied up 1-1. And the better story here is in the losing locker room, so that is where we will start. So let us discuss the question. What are your initial thoughts on Game 2, Clippers-Suns, Game 2 that goes to Phoenix? So I've got Dennis Green, Shakespeare, and Disco. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make the Baba Ganoush. We're going to make the Baba Ganoush. Now, another solid effort from the Clippers. That was my first thought. A lot of people were texting me, they're going to get blown out. They got the win. Now, they didn't win the game. They didn't get a win in Game 2, but the message was clearly sent here. And if you're a basketball person, you know that Phoenix expected the people's team to be satisfied here and to not have any fight and to kind of give up in that game. And it's kind of a night where you expect the Clippers to play like the Knicks did and get blown off the court. That did not happen. The Clippers made the Suns work for this victory. The Clippers led by as many as 13 in the second quarter, and Phoenix at that point was in full-on panic mode. You could see the look on the Suns' face like, holy crap, what is going on here? And then things turned, but don't confuse that. Don't confuse that for like the Suns have somehow figured things out, because as the late Dennis Green so eloquently said, the old NFL coach, if you want to crown them, meaning the Suns, then crown their blankety blank, and I'll storm off here just like Dennis Green, but they are who we thought they were. And the Clippers let them off the hook. Now, why did the game turn? The game turned, it's very simple. It's not complex. You've got a 13-point game. Clippers led by 13 with 5:32 to go in the second quarter. And the contractors didn't do their job, right? They didn't get the job done there, and that's on them. The Freemasons, they turned out to be the Freemasons. Nicholas Batum had a terrible game from start to finish, did not score, which seemingly is hard to do when you play 20 minutes. Eric Gordon also failed. So the supporting actors failed. Those guys combined, once the Clippers fell down by 13, or when they had the 13-point lead, from that point to the end of the game, those two shot 2 of 9 from downtown. The Clippers as a team shot 3 of 14 from three-point range. Mind you, these were mostly wide-open, great looks. The Suns' defense blows, and the Clippers just missed it. As the cliche goes, it's a make-or-miss league, and the Suns were making their shots. The Clippers were missing their shots. Devin Booker and the rotting carcass of Chris Paul able to contribute. They combined 19 of 25 in that stretch from the second quarter to the end of the game, and when the Clippers led by 13 to the end of the game. But good luck repeating that. Good luck bottling that and bringing that back. We don't think there's a chance that happens in game number 3. Now, page 2 here. How did you react to the Scott Foster bombshell announcement from the NBA? Scott Foster was the lead official, the notorious figure in NBA history, good friend of Tim Donaghy, the guy that was fixing NBA games, and Scott Foster was buddy-buddy with him and somehow survived all this time. Real shady character in NBA circles. But he was out there, and the stat that had been bouncing around, the Chris Paul teams had lost 13 straight Scott Foster officiated games, and that stat went viral. And it was a case where you've been in a cave somewhere and you didn't know that all this was going on. Well, that stat, the 13 straight losses, Chris Paul teams with Scott Foster officiating, was kind of a big deal. But people did not factor in here, and only those of you that are loyal to the overnight and this show realize that the Poppy factor was in play here. Our caller, Poppy, who is the storm cloud on a sunny day. And he called in. He chimed in with the Scott Foster fun fact, and he picked Scott Foster's game. And this was the game. And so, of course, everyone bet one way, and the opposite happened. And this turned into a Shakespearean drama. It was a Shakespeare special. Much ado about nothing. It was much ado about nothing. In terms of Scott Foster, we didn't get a Scott Foster moment unless I missed it. There was no Scott Foster moment. There was no technical foul that was inexplainably called. There was no phantom call that went against Chris Paul or the Suns. In fact, for the most part, Scott Foster was in the background. He vanished, which I think is where you want officials to be. Not really notice him that much. It was not a vintage Scott Foster game. All streaks are due to end somewhere along the way. But this leads to another Shakespeare line, that expectation is the root of all heartache. The expectation was that Scott Foster would go out and do the Scott Foster things that he's become known for, and it didn't happen in this game. We only got a very brief moment of Chris Paul seemingly begging Foster to help the game end in favor of the Suns that was captured on grainy cell phone video from in the arena. So Chris Paul now, last 14 playoff games with Scott Foster is 1-13. Last 14 games with Scott Foster, 1-13. Now the last word here. We are 2 games into the opening round playoff series, Suns and Clippers, this matchup. So how are things looking right now at this part of the book, at this chapter in the book? So the Clippers are in really great shape. Really great shape. I know that bothers a lot of people, and they don't like that. But the first part of the mission has been accomplished. You steal home court from Phoenix, and they have been the more impressive team, even in defeat, the more impressive team, considering how undermanned the Clippers are without the great Paul George, PG-13, top NBA ball player, wearing street clothes. And if you're the Suns, and if you're a Suns supporter, you're at the disco right now. It's Panic at the Disco is what it is, because the Clip joint will be a rockin' with Clipper Darrell leading the way there in game number 3. Chris Paul will play more like the old man he is. Devin Booker's not going to shoot like that again. And the Clippers will make the necessary adjustments in game number 3. The supporting actors also, this is the thing that's really going to kill Phoenix. The supporting actors, generally speaking, do not play all that well on the road for any NBA team. So stiffs like Torrey Craig or Josh Okogie or Bismack Biyombo, those kind of guys, forget about it. Forget about it. Kevin Durant's going to have to score 60 points or close to it for the Suns to win one of these games in L.A. Good luck on that. And for the Clippers, things are certainly trending up. You got Russell Westbrook, who, holy crap, he's found his offensive game. 9 of 16 for Westbrook in game number 2. And much like the guys for the Suns are going to blow for the secondary actors for the Suns in game 3, for the Clippers, those guys will make shots. That Norman Powell, Nicholas Batum, who had a goose egg, Bones Highland, those type of players, and a few others will play better at home. So things are certainly in a good spot for the Clippers, and that right there was a little workshop, a little study group to teach you how this is going to go in game number